Matthew Albright, Philozenge. Today I'd like to touch on Aristotle, and how I'd like to present Aristotle today is kind of as a self-help guru. So here's our sack of kind of attributes, our sack of emotions, and it's all about when to use them. And it's very interesting to assign Aristotle's ideas of balance and how to reach this kind of happiness to emotions and attributes which many times we see as negative. So, for instance, take something like jealousy. Now, jealousy has this kind of negative tinge to it, and maybe for good reason, because jealousy sometimes leads to anger and maybe violence, etc., etc. And I think Aristotle would step back and say, jealousy is all about the balance and how to use it, right? Clearly, if you have too much jealousy, and jealousy is probably a mixture of fear and power and things of other sorts, right? So if you have too much jealousy, then and you're jealous about the wrong things, then clearly that's a problem, right? And if we've ever experienced somebody who's jealous, we know it's a problem because they're jealous about, for things that they shouldn't be jealous about. Right? By the same token, if you don't have jealousy, if you have no tinge of jealousy, then this shows that you're probably lacking actual love. I mean, if you let your girlfriend or boyfriend go around with whoever and, go out on dates and, sleep with whoever, then without jealousy, then there's probably something wrong with your relationship to him and her, all right? So Aristotle would say, all of these attributes that we have, they're all, in a sense, can be used towards the good, can be used towards this kind of happiness. It's all in using them towards a balance. Jealousy should indicate to you that you love somebody, that you miss them, that there's a hole where when those people aren't there and you don't want to see that person spending their love someplace else, right? Now, used in a healthy context, used in a balanced context, then that could be very helpful to a relationship. It could tell you that you're actually in love with somebody. Again, when to use it, when not to use it, and once again, it is all per the individual, right? Everybody's jealousy balance probably comes at a different level, right? If you're in a relationship with a crazy person, then maybe you have reason to be jealous, and you should be jealous more often. Jealousy should be telling you something. Maybe jealousy should be telling you, get the hell out of there, right? But if you're in a relationship with a very nice person, then maybe jealousy shouldn't be used that much or shouldn't come up that much, right? The same with kind of anger. Anger has a negative undertone, but there's such a thing as just anger. And Aristotle would say there's a time and a place for anger, right? In fact, one of the things Aristotle says, all you have to do is do the right thing at the right time for the right amount to the right people. Easy schmeezy. You do that, you've achieved virtue, you've achieved your function, and you've achieved eudaimonia. You've achieved happiness. Now, one last note on this. If this was Aristotle doing a self-help book or a self-help tour, what he's going to want to do is make a distinction between his idea of happiness and this kind of 21st century American idea of happy, being happy all the time. Or even being happy as a virtue, or pleasure. So Aristotle is going to say, do not mix up my idea of happiness with being happy, with being joyous, or do not mix up my idea of happiness with pleasure. In other words, achieving Aristotle's kind of function means that you're using all things human, all things individual to your human, but also all things human, which means that you are also grieving. You are also sad at times. But again, it's being sad at the right time for the right reasons, right? Somebody who doesn't grieve after they've lost a loved one, that, psychologists would say there's a problem there. That there's either a problem with how they relate to people, or it's a problem that they're subverting and it's going to erupt later, right? So Aristotle is not saying that just because we adopt this philosophy that we're going to be whistling Dixie for the rest of our lives, right? Happiness does not equate to joy or even pleasure, right? Happiness should bring moments of happy or moments of joy, right? And there's nothing wrong with pleasure. But too much pleasure, as we know, leads to not so much goodness, not so much happiness. Too much beer will not make you happy. You need just the right amount of beer, just the right time, just the right person, right? Same thing with sex and any other kind of pleasure. So happiness for Aristotle is not being happy. Happiness is kind of coming to your own, to soul realization is how Aristotle might describe it. You've discovered who you are, and you are functioning. You are in the groove. I don't know if you've ever been there, but I think there are moments in life where we say, I am where I am supposed to be. I am in the relationships I am supposed to be. I am all me right now. Right? And Aristotle's saying this is what we want to aim for throughout our lives. Right? It takes awareness of soul. And notice there's a relativity to that too from day to day. You know, what we have to do today in terms of anger or joy or jealousy, etc., may change tomorrow because the relationships will change tomorrow, the context will change tomorrow, and we'll be a slightly different person tomorrow. Or as Sartre would say, we're a completely different person tomorrow. We get to invent ourselves tomorrow. All right? So, eudaimonia, different from being happy or achieving happy. Right? And this is how Aristotle says we will achieve our happiness. Okay? Find out who you are. Find out what your function is. Look at what your body can do. Look at what you're capable of. Look at what your learning skills are. Look at what your mind, how your mind thinks. Look at what you're good at. Look at what you enjoy doing. That's probably your function. And then take this sack of human attributes like anger, like love, like jealousy, like joy, right? And apply them to situations in a very balanced manner, in the manner to which they are supposed to be applied to any particular situation, given your particular individual proclivities in terms of biology. Wow, that was a long sentence. I hope you got it.